Welcome back, everybody. So I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who subscribed on part one of my video. I really appreciate it. Um, Before you watch part two, make sure to watch part one because they're tied together. So it's not gonna make sense if you watch part one first. So be sure to check that video out. One thing I wanted to say as well is, as expected, there was a few negative comments in my last video. One comment specific saying that it's fabricated. My story is fabricated. Number one, it's not fabricated. And number two, I want to give you a little exercise to do. My video, part one, is 27 minutes long, right? So I want you to, if you think it's fabricated, I want you to make up a story in your head and then grab your camera and record and tell me how, and let me know how hard it is to talk about a fabricated story for 27 minutes long. It's hard to do it for 2 minutes. So imagine 27 minutes. It's damn near impossible. And my first video has no edits, no nothing. I just hit the record button and started talking. So trust me, the story is not fabricated, and none of my content will ever be fabricated. Everything is, I'm just documenting my life. That's all. Obviously that situation, it couldn't be documented. That's impossible. So all I'm doing is just telling my story to the people that are interested. Nobody's forced to watch my channel. Nobody's anything. That's why it just blows my mind that there's people out there that take the time out of the day to write a negative comment, because that kind of just goes to show that when someone's life is interesting, they literally have no interest, number one, in other people's lives, or number two, in writing a negative comment or anything like that, because it would never occur to me to do that about anybody. So just keep that in mind. And remember, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the people that take their time out of their day to actually watch my videos, because I don't know, it's just a good feeling when you see, like, the views up and getting new subscribers. It's just a really good feeling. It kind of gives you the motivation to keep going with it. Okay, so let's get into it. In part one, I left off at the part where I had told you guys I had just cut things off with the girl, and I had a trip plan. I cut things off with the girl on January 1st, but I had a trip plan to come visit her on January 30th. So I had to make a decision to cancel my flight or still go. And obviously I decided to still go, because I looked at it as an adventure, as, like, maybe to meet new people, and like the unknown, because sometimes the unknown, it could be scary, but at the same time, like, for me, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as exciting. I'm not the planning type. I'm the type that every time I go on vacation, I don't like my day planned. I like waking up and whatever comes to my head or whatever I feel like doing, I'll do it. I feel like that's the best way to live. It's the best way to, well, it might not be the most organized way to live, but it's definitely the most exciting way, because you're definitely not predictable. So anyways, I decided to take the trip. So January 30th hits, I make the trip. It's 4 airplanes. I had to take 4. That was like a Thursday, I think. January 30th or 31st, I'm not sure. But it was a Thursday. I arrived here on a Thursday. I was beat that day. So that day, once I landed here, I just decided to rest. So the next day, Friday, I woke up, went to the barbershop, got ready, everything. Because I had decided, I didn't have any plans during the day, but I had decided already in my head that at night I was gonna go out to the club. Because the easiest way, for me at least, or like the most organic way to meet people is kind of like through the nightlife. Because I don't know, when you just randomly go up to people during the day, it just feels a little weird, So I had decided I was gonna go to the club. So during the day, I didn't do much because I didn't have plans. Like I said, I didn't know anybody. I only knew the girl I stopped talking to, and I never kept in contact to her, never anything. So I didn't have anything to do during the day. So the night hits. I get dressed, everything. I go to a strip here that they have like between 10 and 20 clubs all next to each other. So that's where everybody goes for clubbing. So I went to this club called Fuego. So I go in, they have like a bar area, and then they have like tables, a bunch of tables. Obviously I wasn't gonna get a table alone, so I just stood by the bar. So in that place, like, the bar gets full and then it empties out. So it gets full when people go and get their drinks, and then it empties out once people have their drinks. So there'll be times where it's full and times that it's empty. So whenever it would empty out, I would feel a little bit awkward. I'll feel like, it kind of felt like, because I'm already not from here, so I kind of stand out. But on top of that, to be alone and standing at the bar, it kind of felt like people were looking at me. So yeah, a few times it cleared out, got full and cleared out. And when it cleared out, I kind of like look back and I see another guy standing there alone too. So I go up to the guy and I tell him, do you want to just stand next to each other? That way, like, it doesn't feel awkward, like just standing at the club, like, alone. He's like, yeah, for sure. We could stand next to each other. And from there on, we started talking. He bought me a beer. I bought him some beers. Like, that was the start of a new friendship. Because from that night on, for the rest of my trip and future trips, he was pretty much my best friend. Like, we became best friends. We became tight. He was from there. He was actually from Venezuela, but he lived here in Cucuta. So yeah, that night, it was just a regular night. Yeah, we had fun. We just had to, for the most part, it was me and him getting to know each other, whatever, because, it was my first guy friend I ever met in Colombia. So it was new to me. Yeah, so we hit it off right away. We had fun, everything good. So the trip was about 3 weeks long, that one. So every day from that day on, we were together. So during the days, he would show me around, and then at nights we would go out. We were pretty much going out clubbing like every single night after I met him, because obviously after that night, like, we kept in touch because I didn't know anybody. So we pretty much gave each other plans like every single day. And we were meeting people, and it was just a blast. It was a blast, honestly. So the trip ended up being like a huge success, because I came out with friends and somebody to like do activities with during the day and everything. So that trip was so fun that I decided in my head, like, damn, like, I'm having like the best time. Like, I don't want to go back home. So I was then taxed with I was then had to come up with a way to make money here. That way I can stay long term, because I really didn't want to go back home. So I kind of brainstormed with him. Like, the last 2-3 days, I told him, like, damn, I don't want to leave. Like, we should like brainstorm ideas of how to make money here. That way I can stay long term. So we were brainstorming ideas, and we came up with the fact, like, because the thing about here in Cucuta, like, there's different stores, but for the most part, most stores are like empty. Like, I don't know, the economy here is just really like down in the gutter. Like, the only things that are 100% guaranteed to make you money is anything that has to do with alcohol and clubbing, nightlife. Those are the two things that you're for sure a success. Because during the day, when you walk around most stores around here, like, it's dead. Like, you don't see barely any customers. Unless it's a supermarket or anything like that, you don't really see much customers buying. Like, I don't know, it kind of seems like people don't have much spending money around here. Like, things are tough here. I think the minimum wage here is like 30,000 pesos, which is about $6 or $7 a day. So imagine you working 8 to 10 hours a day to get $8. That's not a good way to live. So we came up with the idea of opening up a bar. Well, I came up with the idea of opening up a bar, and the plan was that, yeah, we would open it and he would manage it. This is how close we got in such a short period of time that I actually confided in him so much that I told him he could actually run the bar while I'm not here, because I would obviously have to go back and forth from the U.S. and Colombia. Like, there's no way I can stay here like long term, unless I get like a business visa or some other type of long-term visa. But I don't really see myself staying here like 3 years straight or something like that, because I think that might be one of the requirements. So the plan was I would just be back and forth from the United States and Colombia, and whenever I'm not here, he would run the bar. So that was the plan. But we had limited time because I had two days left until I had to leave. So what I had to do, I told him I'll come back in 2 months, and then we could like really get into like looking for places and get into the process. So yeah, I went back to the United States. I didn't have a job or anything, but obviously with that new plan, I decided, okay, let me try and make some quick money. That way, like, I couldn't get a regular job because a regular job wasn't gonna give me that much vacation time, or like to go back so quickly or anything like that. So what I had to do some DoorDash, and Uber, and you know, those type of apps that you can just work whenever you want. So I did that for 2 months. Then I ended up making another trip back. So when I get back, we literally picked up right where we left off, with me and my friend. During the day, we would look for places. It was a little bit difficult looking for places, finding like the perfect area, because what I wanted the bar like off a main road. That way people could just stop on their motorcycles right there on the way and have a drink and then leave. So easy in, easy out. But it was a little bit difficult finding a place. So during the days, we would try and figure things out about the bar, and then at night we would club and drink and just enjoy the nights. We picked up right back where we left off, like having fun every day, every single day. So yeah, that trip I ended up coming for about a month. So fast forward, 3 weeks, everything straight. Like he would actually like would push me like, oh, let's go, I would wake up, he said, oh, let's go start looking for places, all of that, because he didn't have a job. So things were very tough for him. Like he didn't even have money to eat, like anything. So I was helping him out out of the kindness of my heart. I was helping him out. I paid all his taxis to meet up, everything. So, but at the same time, I told him, you know, there's no handouts. Like you have to, we can start this, but you gotta work. You gotta want to work, because I believe in working. I don't believe in like just handouts. Like I can help somebody, but like they have to want it too. So yeah, fast forward a little bit, 3 weeks go by, everything good. About when there was like about a week left of my trip, I remember it was a Thursday, so he was kind of pushing me, but like he noticed that it was getting close to the day I had to leave. So then he all of a sudden just stopped talking to me about the bar. But I didn't think nothing of it. So yeah, I remember it was this Thursday. We went to this place called Sultilicol. It's like a place with a nice view, and people just come buy a bottle or buy drinks, and they put good music, and you just sit and chill, talk, and have your drinks. So it was a Thursday. Like we didn't feel like going clubbing that night, so we just took it easy and we went there. So regular night, we finished the bottle, and then, you know, I was gonna go home and he was gonna go home, like just regular night. And so yeah, I was gonna call it InDrive. InDrive is basically like Uber over here. It's like the same thing as Uber. So I go to call my Uber. He goes, oh, why are you calling Uber? Like, let's just take this taxi that's parked right over here. I'm like, and he actually grabs my phone and cancels my InDrive. I'm like, why? Like, you know, I almost never take taxis, like, but whatever. Like, I didn't think anything of it, because the taxis, whatever, like, it's kind of true. Like, the taxi was already there. When you call it InDrive, sometimes they take a while, like 10 minutes or whatever. So I honestly didn't think anything of it. It was an actually legit taxi, like, so I didn't think anything of it. And then he told me he was gonna go home himself. Like, I didn't think that was strange, because there would be days that I would go home in an InDrive, and he would just walk home. He would just, like, I would offer him, like, yo, I'll pay you a taxi to get home. But no, for some reason he would just walk home. I don't know why. And I didn't even know where he lived, because it never occurred to me that I'd go where he lives or anything. Every time we met up, we met up in public, or he would come to my apartment. But I never went to his house or even asked, because there was no point to ask, because I was still getting to know Cucuta. So I didn't. He can tell me where he lives, and I still don't know where it is, which like barrio it is. I wasn't sure. So anyways, he tells me, oh, just get in this taxi, whatever, and then I'll just walk home. Who cares? I was like, all right, whatever. And I told him we're on for tomorrow, because we had plans, because the next day was Friday. So weekends, every weekend for sure, we always had plans. So I told him, oh, so we're on, whatever, I'll just talk to you tomorrow. We have those plans at night. You already know. So I get in the taxi. So whatever, I get in the taxi pulls off. The taxi was driving like pretty slow, only because, right, that was around 11, 12, like at midnight. So the thing here is, after 11, motorcycles aren't allowed on the road. You can't drive past 11 on a motorcycle. I'm not sure why, but you just can't. So the streets are mostly like empty. But the few cars that were on the street, like I noticed every car kind of passing us. So I thought that was strange. That was the first like alarm that rang in my head. I was like, this feels strange. He's driving too slow. And on top of that, the taxi driver was texting a lot. He was like driving and then texting. And I was like, whatever, I can't tell him anything. It's his taxi. So yeah, we keep driving, and then eventually he pulls to the side, and he goes, oh, I have to stop. There's like a sensor bad in my car, so like I have to go and check it out. And that was another alarm that rang in my head, because I know about cars. Like my father owns a shop. I've worked on cars most of my life, and the car felt fine. He was just driving slow. But whatever, I just said okay. So he gets out of the car and opens his hood. And it was dark, everything was dark, the roads were empty. And I'm just looking back and thinking like, this feels strange. This feels strange. Like, I hope I don't get robbed. It's funny, because that's what I thought in my head. I'm like, damn, this feels strange. And lo and behold, a car pulls right behind us. These guys pull out. Another robbery. So in my head, I'm like, oh my God, not again. This can't be happening. But at the same time, I was calm. Only because this had happened to me already in Cartagena. So I was honestly calm. I was honestly like pretty calm. Because I figured in my head, you know, it's the same routine. Like, they're gonna steal my phone again, another iPhone. They're gonna steal my phone again. We're gonna go to the ATM. They're gonna take out some money. They're gonna ask me to transfer, all that, and then they'll just let me go. So I was honestly calm, because it was just routine. It already happened to me. So like when it's something has already happened to you, you're not as scared the second time. So whatever, they tie my hands up with tape, put a sweater over my head, or whatever. I was just there calm. And they're over here, because the thing is, with the black sweater, like that, it was a black sweater, so you could kind of like see through it a little bit, or like you could kind of have a sense of what they're doing. They were just taking videos, laughing, or whatever. They had guns and everything. They were taking videos, laughing, like pretty much laughing at the fact that they just kidnapped somebody, pretty much. But I was calm as can be, whatever. So they took everything I had on me. I just had my phone and some cash, because I already knew after the first time not to carry anything, almost anything. I didn't even have a debit card. Like from there on, I only carried cash. So I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna ask me to transfer or something, or like whatever. So we're driving. About what feels like about 30 minutes comes by, and I'm thinking like, damn, like this is a little strange. Like we're driving a lot, and we haven't stopped. I mean, I figured we wouldn't stop at the ATM because I didn't have my debit card or anything, but I figured by now like they would tell me something, like start to transfers, like send them any transfers or anything, but nothing. So we keep going. Oh, and another thing that was strange is that I obviously knew the taxi driver was part of it, because when the guys had jumped in the car, the taxi driver started driving. He didn't ask for directions, he didn't ask for anything. And they were acting like, the guy in the front seat was saying like, oh, drive to the taxi driver. Oh, drive or I'm gonna shoot you, or whatever. But the taxi driver already knew where he was going. He wasn't asking for directions, and the guy in the passenger seat wasn't telling him directions. So obviously the taxi driver was part of it. And then once I was thinking that, I was thinking like, damn, is my friend part of this? Because my friend was the one who told me to get in this taxi. So instantly, like my head was just going into like trying to solve this. So whatever, we keep driving. Then what feels like maybe like an hour and a half driving. At there I started to panic because that's not normal. Like that long of a drive is not normal. So we reach like a little body of water. I don't know if it was like a river, lake or something. And then that's when panic mode really kicked in, because they had took the sweater off like a little bit. They didn't want me to see, but they took the sweater off a little bit, and they were telling me how do I turn off my iPhone, because they were scared that my location was on, and they didn't know how to turn off an iPhone. So whatever, I turned the iPhone off and I peeked up. I kind of peeked up, and when I tell you, it was like something out of a movie. Literally, I saw these guys with like huge guns, literally like cartel style, like with their faces covered with the cutouts and big guns and like full gear. And at this point I'm like, what did I just get myself into? Like, this can't be happening to me. Like it felt like a movie. So whatever, they crossed, we reached the river. The river was really, really short because there was a motorcycle on the river. So they put the sweater back on and they put me on the motorcycle, and the motorcycle crossed me over, and there was a car waiting. So we get in the car and then we start driving again. What feels like another 2 hours. Like when I tell you like this was the longest trip, literally it had to be like minimum at least 4 hours of what it felt like. And in my head I knew, like, obviously Cucuta is the border city of Venezuela, and what divides them is like a river. So obviously I knew I was in Venezuela. I knew they had crossed me to Venezuela because there's a lot of illegal ways to cross into Venezuela, and it's always through the river. So I had obviously knew that they had crossed me over to Venezuela. So when I get in that car, when they put me in that car, we drive, and it felt like we were driving uphill. So obviously it felt like we were like going up a mountain. It felt like we were going like on curves around the mountain. At that point I'm like, damn, what is this? Like, I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind, and I was panicking. And I was telling them like, where are we going? Like, and they just said, just shut up, just you'll find out in a little bit. So then eventually we reached this like house in a mountain. It's called a finca. So we reached this finca, right? They take me out of the car. I was still blindfolded. They were guiding me in. They guided me into this empty room, right? And then they took the sweater off. And then the guys, it was like 5 guys with the big guns, and they told you the full army gear and there. So they took that off. They took the tape off. They said, listen, we're we're like a gang that what we do is we rob rich people to help poor people. And they gave me the whole spiel. Like, they said, you know, if you cooperate, you'll get out of here alive. If you don't, like, you're dead. And if you lie to us about anything we ask, like, you're dead. So remember that. So think twice before if you try to lie. At this point, like, when you're seeing this like up close, like, you're not gonna lie about absolutely nothing, because this was no joke. So I told them, yeah, don't worry, like, I'll comply with everything, like anything you want, just whatever, I just want to get out of here alive. So whatever. They said okay. So they started getting into my phone. I had to give them the passcode, everything. So they made me get into my banking apps, whatever. So I told them all of them, but I actually didn't lie. I was so shook that I gave them all of my banks, because mind you, I told you I always come prepared and I hide my biggest account. But I was so shook, scared for my life at that point, that I didn't want to lie about anything. I don't want to risk it. Like, money's just money. I can make it back. Like, I don't care. Like, I've never been through something like that. And plus, the room we were in, it was kind of a room that you see in movies, that it's like empty, and then you'll see there's like a table, and it looks like there's equipment like to cut people open, like equipment to that they use to cut people open. And so yeah, once I saw that, I'm like, nah, there's no way I'm lying about anything. Okay, so yeah, they got into all my apps. Then they asked me, they were way more sophisticated, so they asked me for my social security. So I guess, yeah, they got on the phone with somebody and they passed them over my social security, and I guess they were using some system that tells them every bank that I have or anything I have under my social security. So Once I gave them that, they knew every account I had, and they saw that I was telling the truth because I gave them all of it. And then they proceeded to wipe me out clean. They wiped me out like completely clean. They got into every bank. They wiped out all my savings. They wiped out all my credit cards, which ended up being like a bad thing, right? Because so I had a credit card that had a $10,000 limit, and I never use it because I only had that for emergencies and to build my credit and all of that. So what they had to do is they made a big purchase. I don't know how, but they made like an $8,000 purchase, and the purchase was so big that it needed 5 days to clear. So I was thinking like they wiped me out clean, like they're gonna let me go. And they ended up saying they can't let me go until that transaction clears. So I had to spend 5 days there, kidnapped, 5 days. So pretty much, yeah, they transferred me to a different room. It was still a shitty room, but I at least had like a little bed, made out of wood, and like a cheap mattress. And I was handcuffed. So pretty much for the next 5 days, I was just in there, literally handcuffed. The only thing they let me do was shower and they bring me food. But 24 hours, like pretty much trapped in a room, staring at the wall, and just like, it's crazy when you're in that situation. It's crazy, like all the crazy stuff that runs through your head. Number one, I felt like, damn, I was like, I'm dead. Like, they're gonna wipe me out clean, and like what are the options? Like, they're gonna let me go, and what? Like, they're gonna think I'm gonna run to the cops. And so like I pretty much thought like the only option was for them to wipe me out clean and then kill me, because why would they risk leaving me or whatever? So yeah, and then I thought about a lot of other crazy stuff. Like, damn, I'm gonna die, and I don't even have kids. I don't have like no legacy, nothing to leave back. Like, it's just crazy. Like, I thought about a lot of stuff. So yeah, so then they had these guards that would have to check up on me every hour or so. And eventually, you know, when your thoughts running crazy there, like you need to unwind. So what I would do is when the guards would come check on me, I just tell them like, oh, are you allowed to talk? Like, can you just come in here and sit with me, like, at least, and like whatever, we would just talk. And they had my phone, so like the guards would be like looking through everything on my phone. So yeah, so we would talk, and they were like pretty interested in my life because they saw like a bunch of videos I had traveling, and they saw I was from the United States. Like, it showed that they've never kidnapped anyone from the United States because they had a lot of questions about the United States. Like, most of the conversation was about me. Like, they didn't talk about themselves personal, because they said that any little mistake they make or anything, they said they're actually not allowed to talk to the people they kidnap, but any little mistake they make, like, they said they're dead. Like, them and their family are dead, so they're on a tight rope. So yeah, we would just, like, I ended up building like a pretty good bond with at least like 3 other, like, the guards that were there. So yeah, things progressed. Like, it was an emotional roller coaster being kidnapped there, because some days I would feel like that there's some hope of me getting out, but then there would be some of the guards that, like, man, some of the guards were just complete dicks. They said like, oh, you need more money to get out of here. If not, you're dead. So if you don't get more money for us, you're gonna be here for a year, 2 years, 3 years. So you better get more money. Like, and I was thinking like in my head, like, how am I gonna get more money? Like, this, like, they wiped me out completely clean. So it was legit like an emotional roller coaster being there. Like, it was like horrible. But then there was some guards that you could tell had like a little sympathy for me, because they had built that little bond with me, so they felt, you know, a little bit bad. And I would ask them questions too, like, oh, have they ever killed anybody, anything like that? And like, surprisingly, they would say no, but honestly, it was hard to believe anything they say, because there was actually this one instance that, right, yeah, I was in the room, you could kind of hear what they're doing like outside of the room. And there was this one afternoon that a dog, because there was a lot of stray dogs around there, so it seemed like, I guess, like one of the dogs had like took one of the guys' food by accident, or a piece of their meat from their lunch, you know, like innocently, because a stray dog, all they think about is food. So the dog had innocently like take a piece of their meat. And he got so mad that he grabbed one of the guns and literally shot the dog, and then laughed about it, and then joked with the friends about it. Like it was just like when I saw that, like when I heard that, I just thought like, man, these guys are just heartless. So it was kind of like difficult to believe anything they say. But either way, I managed to build a pretty bond, because I was actually strategic to be on their good side. That way, like, if I have any hope to live. So as the days progressed, whatever, a lot of crazy thoughts in my head. So the day that the transaction cleared arrived. So it cleared, and then they came in, they told me, yeah, the transaction cleared. I'm like, oh, so does that mean like you guys can let me go? And they said, yeah, we'll let you go, but first you have to give us all your information. So they made me write down all my information, address, my mom's name, father's name, any brothers' names I had, everything. And they told me, listen, like, we're gonna let you go, right? But if you go to the cops, like, they said, oh, we have connections in the United States and all this crap. They're like, we have connections. Like, if you go to the cops and any cops like arrive here or anything, or you do anything to put anything there of their operations in jeopardy, they said they have all your info. Well, first they said all the info I gave, they're gonna go verify it. So literally, yeah, they spent out like 4 hours just trying to verify. Like, who knows if they really did it, or who knows if it was just a scare tactic so that I wouldn't go to the cops. Which I didn't go to the cops, because after something like that, nobody's gonna go to the cops. So they told me, yeah, if you go to the cops, like, we're gonna find your family and we're gonna kill you. So whatever, I told them, nah, just let me go. I'm not going to the cops. I'm not anything. Like, don't worry about it. Like, at that point, I just cared about my life. I didn't care about cops. I didn't care about like starting any issues. I just wanted to get out of there. And they said, okay. So whatever, yeah, they went to go verify the information, and they come back and they said, oh, we need more money. I'm like, you guys wiped me out clean. Like, I don't have more money. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I don't have any more money. You guys wiped me out clean. They're like, oh, call your family. Call your family and tell them to send us money. I'm like, oh my God. So I told them, like, I can't call my family. Like, I can't tell them this, because my family already didn't want me to be in Colombia in the first place. So they didn't like that idea. So for me to like have to call them for money, like, that would have been like, oh my God, I would have been so embarrassed to even go back home. So I told them, okay, I'll call my brother. So I called my brother, whatever. My twin brother. I have a twin brother. So I told him, my brother was, mind you, in those 5 days, because I always keep in touch with my brother knew something was up. My brother knew something was up, because he would write to me, and the guard, right, they had my phone. The guards were writing for me, and my brother knows how I write. So he knew something was up. He was even responding like, no, like, yo, what's going on? Like, you don't even type like this. So he knew something was going on. So I called him and I told him, told him the whole situation. And I told him, yo, you just send me some money, because if not, like, they're gonna kill me. And I ended up having to show him a video of the guns and everything, and he got so scared. So whatever, he ended up sending, I think, like 2,000 more. Like, they had already wiped me out for like over $15,000. So I told him, like, listen, like, my brother just has 2,000 more. Like, would you guys just take that? Like, please just let me go. And I actually was telling one of the guys I had built a decent bond with. And so whatever, they said, whatever, that's fine. Just give us 2,000 or that's fine. So my brother ends up transferring it, whatever. So then, yeah, a little later in the afternoon, they put me in the car. Well, first, actually, like, after that, like, I remember, yeah, as I was gonna head out in the car, like, as they were gonna bring me out, they actually like liked me so much that they had the audacity to tell me if I want a job or I want to work with them, like, to let them know. Like, who in their right mind, like, would want to work for somebody like that their job is pretty much kidnapping people and stealing from people and like having to go through what I just went through. And they had the audacity. Like, that goes to show, like, I don't know what they think. They don't have a mind, pretty much. But they didn't want me to go. They thought it was so interesting that didn't want to, that they decided like, oh, do you want to work with us, whatever. I'm like, no. I'm like, absolutely not. Like, no offense, but I would never do this to anybody. And he said, that's fine. And they actually had the audacity to say, listen, you're a good person. Like, we robbed you because we thought you were a narco, like that I had to do with drugs, because I guess they had an eye on me because I was going out clubbing every night, and that's not normal. People here don't have much money, so it's not normal for somebody to be going clubbing every night. Which is why in one of my videos I say the danger is pretty tightly correlated with the nightlife. If you want to stay out of danger, they avoid the nightlife, avoid clubbing, avoid all of that. So yeah, they put me in the car, whatever. We start the long trip back. This trip felt like, well, they had covered me and everything again, it tied me up. This trip felt like double the it was like double of last time. Mind you, I told you it was like 4 hours. It felt like this one felt like 8 hours. Like, I don't know if they were just trying to disorient me or what. So like I wouldn't have an idea of where it was. But it felt like forever. But then they actually brought me to like another safe house that was closer in Colombia. And I was scared. At this point, I'm telling them like, yo, weren't you guys gonna let me go? Like what's going on? Like, why are we in another house? And like, don't worry about it. We're gonna let you go. Just don't worry about it. Don't ask questions. Whatever. So yeah, then they proceeded. Yeah, they had to wait until it was nighttime, because I guess like they have problems with the cops, or like they can't be seen by the cops in Colombia. So they wait until nightfall to let me go. So it hit nightfall, and then they left me outside of the city. So they gave me some money for a taxi, and they left me outside of the city, and they let me go. And they told me, remember, if you go to the cops, you're dead. I was like, whatever, I'm not going. And I actually was not gonna go. Like, trust me, like after something like this, like the last thing I was gonna do is go to the cops and bring a problem to me and a problem to my family. So I just took the L. So I went and grabbed the taxi already, came and went back to my Airbnb. And at that point, like, I felt like confronting my friend about it, because mind you, the whole 5 days I was there, my friend didn't contact me, didn't write to me, didn't anything. So it was obvious that he was part of it, only because that's not normal. We would talk every single day. Like he would hit, if I didn't message him, he would message me every day. So for in those 5 days not to message me, and we had plans that next day, the day I got kidnapped, and we had plans that next Friday, he never hit me up, never anything. So I already knew he had part of it. So I don't know whether to confront him about it or not, because if he was part of it, he can just tell his buddies, and he can probably have me killed like that. So I decided to just block him and just forget about it. So I'll go back to my Airbnb. The first thing I do is book a flight, whatever. I had to book. I didn't have any money, obviously, to wipe me out clean. So I had to ask my brother for money, but he only had like the 2,000 he had sent me. So I had to wait a week until he got paid, so then he could send me money. So I was stuck there for another week. And yeah, you know, like I said, I don't like I hate being alone, hate everything. So I ended up meeting this one girl, which is the girl of the past videos, of the first few videos I had. And that's why I ended up still coming back here to Cucuta. But I don't club, I don't anything. And after that happened to me, like, that's why I told you, like, Colombia's good and everything, but avoid the nightlife. The nightlife is what's gonna bring you like most of the problems here. So with that being said, like, wrapping up this story, saying pretty much what the moral of the story is: Colombia is dangerous, and it's hard to trust people. Like, I already had trust issues before, but it's very hard to trust people here, because it seems like here money rules everything. Like the greed for money is people are willing to do anything for money here. So with that being said, if you like the story, like, share, and subscribe. Hit me up with comments, anything you want. I have a donations tab. Out of the kindness of your heart, if you want to donate, donate to the channel. Everything of the channel, like, is everything, all the donations are going straight into the channel, to go towards the quality and everything. So like, share, subscribe, and catch me in the next video.